How's our audio level? Check, check, check. How's our audio sound? Check, 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 check. Hey guys, we're going to get started in just another minute or so. While you're waiting, go ahead and write in the comments, introduce yourself, say where you're coming from, what you're looking for from today, and we look forward to getting started. And thank you for clicking all the fun emoji reactions. So one neat thing, if you haven't used Facebook Live before, you're able to give us some really neat feedback. You do have all of your emoji reactions and stuff down at the bottom. So as we're saying things, if you like them, you love them, you can go ahead and click on those hearts and those thumbs up icons, and even that big wow face. Thank you for sending those in. I get to see them as we go along, and this is our first time using Facebook Live versus GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar. So what's really cool is instead of just getting the old school hand raise icon like we do with GoToWebinar, we can get much more reactions than just that. So please do use those thumbs up and hearts as we go. It's the equivalent of if we were talking in the room together, me being able to see your smiling face and all. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and actually hop in here, and I'll share with you what we'll be covering today. This is our first time using Facebook Live to do a call like this, and it's our first time doing an office hours call. So I hope you're tuned in and loving this. So let's jump in. Our agenda for today is going to be a few things. One, we'll be jumping in and covering Non-Infusionsoft reps and how that works inside of Infusionsoft and what that is. We'll be going over our new team activity reporting that you have available in your FuseDesk app now. We'll also be jumping in and covering some sales team best practices For folks that, if you don't have your sales team using FuseDesk, we'll be covering how to do that. We're also going to share a little bonus sneak peek for you about how you can do RSS to email through Infusionsoft. And throughout, we're going to be covering your live Q&A. So the cool thing with using this Facebook Live platform is you're able to interact and add comments and ask questions as we go along. So if anything I'm covering is unclear or you have further questions, please do go ahead and type those in there. And I see Tanya's there as well to answer questions while I'm presenting, which is really cool. Thank you, Tanya. Many of you probably know her if you've spoken with her on the phone or chatted with her before. So very cool. Thank you, Tanya. So with that, ask your questions as we go along, and whatever Tanya doesn't answer in the sidebar, we'll make sure to cover. This is live and interactive, and so part of that means that we can jump in-app either into Infusionsoft or FuseDesk and cover your questions. So let's get started. So non-Infusionsoft reps. For the longest time, ever since FuseDesk was created, to log in, you'd always use your Infusionsoft ID and your password. Well, that is starting to change as we start to allow you to invite folks into FuseDesk without requiring they have their own Infusionsoft ID. This is really powerful for a few reasons. One is sometimes we have a use case where maybe you have virtual assistants or a VA team that you don't want to have full access to your Infusionsoft account, but you do want them to handle all of your customer service and customer delight. Well, by adding them as a user instead of FuseDesk, you're going to be able to have them log just into FuseDesk, leverage the full power of Infusionsoft, but not have access to your Infusionsoft. So what that looks like is over on the right-hand side of FuseDesk on the support rep page, you'll see a green button to invite a new user. Now, this is available for our customers on enterprise plans. You can see what plan you're on by clicking billing underneath settings over here, and it'll show you what plan you currently have. You can upgrade, downgrade your plan as needed, but you'll want to be on the enterprise plan to have the non-Infusionsoft reps. So from our rep page, you simply go down to non-Infusionsoft users and you can click to invite a new user. Typically, what you're probably used to is clicking Infusionsoft users from the list and inviting them that way. Now what you can do is simply click on invite a new user and type in their first name here. So we can put in Bobby Smith and Bob at some company.abcdef, and we click on send invitation. As soon as that goes off, you'll have the opportunity to invite another user, Susie Smith, Bob's sister, and so on. And you can keep inviting users as you go along. Once you've invited your team, they'll get an email with a link to go ahead and set up their new login to Infusionsoft. And it'll simply look like this. You'll have the opportunity for them to create a new password and confirm their new password, and then they're logged in. The difference now is that when they go to log into FuseDesk, they'll be using their FuseDesk email address and their password just for FuseDesk. If they forget that or have challenges logging in, that's no problem. We now have the ability for you to reset a password directly for FuseDesk. When you go to reset your password, if you choose, you can choose to reset your password, and you click on reset, and we'll send you a link to reset your password, much like you're used to for most other systems online. If the user account you're trying to reset a password for is an Infusionsoft ID, we'll just go ahead and bounce you over to Infusionsoft so you can reset your password there. So once your team is invited, you'll see who has been sent an invitation. You can easily resend an invitation to a FuseDesk user, as well as you can cancel it out by simply clicking on deactivate, and that user will now go away. You can always invite them or add them again. You'll also see in your user list here, we highlight for you who your Infusionsoft users are and who your FuseDesk users are. This allows you to differentiate who's attached to an Infusionsoft ID and who isn't. Now, when you hop on over, for any of your Infusionsoft users, you now have the ability to unlink that FuseDesk rep from Infusionsoft. You go ahead and click that, and you can confirm to unlink the rep from Infusionsoft. And when we head back over here to your list, you'll see that that is this Aurora here is now a FuseDesk only user. If we want to go ahead and link her back up, we simply click the drop down and choose link rep to an Infusionsoft user. And you'll have a list of who your different users are that you can link them to. And so once we go ahead and link Aurora up here, she's linked to my login. that Infusionsoft ID is now linked up. So what does this mean for your reps? Well, a few things. They can still, as a FuseDesk rep, do all of your Infusionsoft automation, like applying tags, running action sets, using Infusionsoft templates, viewing Infusionsoft contacts in FuseDesk, and so much more. The only difference is going to be that they can't click in and view any more information in Infusionsoft since they don't have an Infusionsoft ID. All the notes they add, all the emails they send, all that stuff will continue to get logged in Infusionsoft just like it would for any Infusionsoft linked user. So if you do have Infusionsoft ID users in FuseDesk, which is by default all of them, you can simply go ahead and unlink any that you no longer want to have an Infusionsoft seat for. What's really cool is if you've been paying for Infusionsoft seats that your reps don't really need, you can now claim those seats back in Infusionsoft, which is going to save you a lot of money every single month. Secondly, if you have users who aren't in FuseDesk because you didn't want an Infusionsoft seat, well, now you can go ahead and add them to FuseDesk without worrying about adding them in Infusionsoft too. So cool. Before I move on from that, any other questions that I can answer for you about FuseDesk reps or Infusionsoft IDs with your FuseDesk reps? You can go ahead and type them right there on our Facebook Live and see more about that. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and move on from here. So the next thing that we're going to talk about on our call today is team activity reporting. So if you're not familiar in FuseDesk, we have a number of powerful reports for you. You simply head over to reports and you'll see our entire reporting suite here, what's available for you. Everything from email volume to caseload, assignment time, cases resolved, and more, all accessible by clicking on reports from the left-hand side over here. Well, the new report we have available actually came up from some of our customers who were looking for more information on what their team was doing. And so we created what's called the team activity report. What this allows you to do is see what your team's been up to in a quantitative way. So you can look at the volume of activity they've had. So we can look at how many emails were sent, how many notes were added, how many phone calls were logged, how many Infusionsoft automations were run, how many cases they were transferred, how many cases they resolved, how many cases they snoozed, and how many cases they just changed the status to something else. So at a glance, if you're curious which reps are doing more work than others or who's logging more phone calls and things like that, you now have a way to compare apples to apples. Previously, when you're looking at the reports in FuseDesk, you would have, you could look at how many cases were resolved or assigned by a rep. But what we found is a number of different FuseDesk apps were using FuseDesk cases to manage workflow. So you might have, for example, let's say you're doing website development work, right? So you have a request that comes from a client. Your initial intake team corresponds to clarify what the customer is looking for, and then hands the case off to your implementation team, right? And now your implementation team is going to jump in and handle some of the implementation work, and they'll move it then to your billing team, who then corresponds to the customer and closes the case out. So what can happen in a workflow is you end up with a whole lot of cases that are assigned to the rep at the end of that workflow. Well, that doesn't reflect the work that was done previously. And so when you look at a report like this, which quantitatively shows who's been doing what, you're able to see who's actually logging notes on the cases, who's working the cases with phone calls, and a lot more. So this is a really powerful report if you want to actually see what work's being done overall across all your cases. Any questions on this report before we move on? Awesome, cool. So let's keep going from there. Next thing we're going to cover on our call today is best practices. When we run our office hours calls or our mastermind calls, we always like to cover sort of best practices. This actually came up, we were just out at SuccessCon in San Diego with Tyler Garnes and the Box Out marketing team, and we're having a conversation at one of the mixers with Sean, who you may know from the Infusionsoft community, and we started talking about how sales teams are using FuseDesk. And he said, Jeremy, like, this is really great content. How come you're not sharing this, with us? You should feature this in one of your next mastermind calls. And I said, that's a great idea. A lot of our customers are using FuseDesk for their sales teams. And we didn't have much more information for you on this. And so I want to share some of those best practices today. So sales teams in FuseDesk are typically handling this in a few different ways. This can be from the pre-sales side of things. So if you have prospects who are emailing in, if you have people who are responding to your nurture emails and things like that, they now start a conversation with your sales team, and that conversation can happen right inside of FuseDesk. This also is helpful from the post-sale handoff. So when you have one of your sales reps close a deal, at the point that they want you then transfer that to your support team, they can simply transfer the support case in FuseDesk from sales over to support, and the support team sees the entire conversation they had with the sales team. What's also beautiful here is you can create cases right from Campaign Builder for your sales team to handle leads and prospects. Okay. Cool. So where this is helpful is considering that FuseDesk isn't just for support reps, right? Many of our clients handle sales in FuseDesk too. When the deal closes, you have a smooth handoff. And what I want to go and show you now is how you can start to dial things in for your sales team. So if we go over here to support reps, underneath your settings, you're going to see some of the settings that we have on individual users. Now, as an admin, you can manage and dial in some of these permissions very well. First of all, you can choose who is an admin in your account versus not. You can choose who gets to see case logs versus not. And then really for your sales teams, what's going to matter here is what cases your reps can use. By default, any FuseDesk rep we view as a collaborative rep. Everyone's working on all the cases. But sometimes, especially with a sales team, you don't want a rep to see other team members' cases or activity. So you can start to dial in the restrictions of who can see what. So for example, only allow a rep to see cases in their own departments. Or more granularly, only their own cases. So where this plays out is we have many customers who work with outsourced support teams, with call centers, or working with a team of VAs. And you might have, for example, 5 VAs handling your support cases, and you might have the manager for all those VAs handling that tier 1 support. So what this lets you do is you can say the VA manager can only view cases in the assigned departments, maybe tier 1 support, and the individual reps can only handle their own cases. And so now from a management standpoint, you as a business owner or support team manager can view everything, but your outsourced team manager is just that one department, and the individual outsourced reps just their own cases, right? So this permission has been in FuseDesk all along. Many folks just didn't know it was there or how to use this appropriately, right? So now with your sales teams, dial in and set your permissions appropriately. What's also great is what we just covered a few minutes ago is this idea that your sales reps don't even need to have Infusionsoft IDs. They can have a FuseDesk only login, which lets them manage FuseDesk cases without having to go all the way into Infusionsoft. So for example, if you have a field team who's out there, say, going door to door, handling sales that way, or an independent sales team that never touches Infusionsoft, they just work the leads they're given, you can now have Campaign Builder create a case, assign it to that rep. They can work the case inside of FuseDesk and never have to jump over to Infusionsoft. Meanwhile, you have all the visibility and tracking of everything inside of Infusionsoft. Cool. What this looks like in Campaign Builder, should we hop into Campaign Builder? Would that be helpful? Yeah, let's do that. All right, let me go ahead and open this up here. One moment. And we'll go into Campaign Builder. Let me find the right campaign for you, and I'll put this up on the screen. All right, so we're just loading up FuseDesk case creation. By the way, one little thing I should share with you that we've not mentioned anywhere else that you're going to love is that we have the ability to push campaigns like this into your Infusionsoft app. So if you're ever wondering, how do I create a case from Infusionsoft into FuseDesk, just let our customer delight team know, and we can and give us your app name, and we can go ahead and push this campaign into your app for you. All right. So when we go ahead and create a case, it's going to look something like this. You're going to have something that kicks that off. For example, you could have a tag for a new prospect that when somebody is a new prospect, a case gets created. And so that's your tag goal here. And then we jump into your sequence, and you're going to have a post, an HTTP post. You'll recognize those guys from over here. So all we do is we have yourappname.fusedesk.com. So I'm not going to say all the stuff. You guys can go see this. If you look at our documentation online or talk to our customer delight team, we'll give you all the information you need here, or again, we can push this into your campaign for you. All right. So you're going to go to yourappname.fusedesk.com and so on. Put in your API key here. And then the contact ID is the Infusionsoft contacts Infusionsoft ID record, and so on. And so you can have something like welcome to the program, or following up on your interest in our products, etc., and have all the details. And you can put your department ID here. This is your FuseDesk department ID. So this is really neat. What you can do is we can go over to our departments, and let's say we have our sales team here, and you simply grab this ID number from your URL for that team. So here is 665, and you'll put that into Infusionsoft. So when you're doing that, you can simply remove rep. And what we'll do inside of FuseDesk is automatically assign that case round robin style to the reps in that department. So again, if you're managing a sales team, you can have your leads distribute evenly across your sales reps right in that department. And you can even apply FuseDesk tags right to that case. In this example here, we have tag IDs, but you don't even need that. You can put in the actual words. So you can put in something like hot lead, sales, etc., and we'll automatically apply those tags for you in FuseDesk right from Infusionsoft. Okay, and that'll create the case. Awesome. So that's how we're going to create the case in FuseDesk that your team can then manage. And so what's that look like? It's going to look something like this. The case will be assigned over with the task of what to do, and they can go ahead and run it from there. Good. So any other questions on how to create cases for your sales team, or any best practices for work with your sales team? Good. I saw a question here regarding mobile usage. One really cool thing about the FuseDesk app is we built it from day one to that you can use it on desktop or on your mobile or on a tablet. I, for example, am often using our FuseDesk app while on the go. I can be at the airport, a case is assigned to me, and then I can jump right in and handle that case while on the go, and your sales team can do that too. In fact, one really neat thing is I'm curious if you guys can use the little like icon or heart icon. Are you using Slack in your business? If you are, go ahead and just click the little heart or like icon. Using Slack for your business? Okay, not a ton of us, that's cool. If you are using Slack, one neat thing that we have available in FuseDesk is you're actually able to set up notifications from Slack. So if we head over here, notifications to Slack. So we can say unassigned notification to Slack. So when an unassigned email comes in, we'll go ahead and create that. We can notify Slack, and there you go. And we'll leave it like that. And what will happen now, and we'll just say keep going, is when an unassigned email comes into FuseDesk, we'll automatically notify the Adventures channel in Slack. And you can obviously use whatever channel makes sense for you. Save and enable that, and your team can now get notified. So for me, I get a notification right in Slack of a new case when it comes in. And I click the button, and I'm able to view that case right in my browser and handle it. Okay? Cool. Other questions that we can answer regarding either Slack or how your sales team can use FuseDesk? Awesome. All right, let's move on from there. So one thing that we use ourselves, sort of like an internal tool that we've had for years, is what we call FeedBolt. This allows you to automatically send emails out to your customers, your prospects, your members. If you're creating content in any way, for example, if you have a blog is the most common format, or you're putting up notices in your members only site, one thing you can do is leverage FeedBolt to automatically broadcast out your latest content to your customers, members, prospects, and more. So what that looks like is we come on into FeedBolt, and this is just simply another add-on for Infusionsoft. Let's get logged in here as Susie Tester, and we'll add a new feed. So you come into FeedBolt, you take your URL for your feed from your site, and we click on Add Feed. Once we do that, it's now configured in FeedBolt, and all you do is choose New Template. And we have a few different templates you can work with, but you can, of course, create your own. So, for example, this is a popular one we called Hero. We feature your latest content up top, followed by your 2 other most recent pieces, and then sign off from there. All right? And we're pulling in the images from your blog and more. And if you don't like that template, you can go with a more old school style of sort of a headline, content, image on the side, and link to other posts. You can have this sort of a weekly digest model of featuring your 3 most recent posts in here as well. And what's really neat is this preview is pulling in the content right from the site. So in this example, we're using Date Nightly. And so if you pop over, if you actually look at what the site looks like here, you'll see on Date Nightly, they feature different date night ideas and more here. This post is the big feature one above the fold, and additional items here on the site. All we're doing is pulling this content into FeedBolt and creating a beautiful template for you from there. So let's go ahead and use the Hero with 2 sub-features, one of my favorites, and then we'll go and edit that. So we load this right in here to the editor, and you can simply go in here and grab your content. So we'll go ahead and copy the image address, and over for logo, we'll drop that in. Boom, that shows up right on top. And let's see, we'll say hi, first name. We ready for date night? So are we. Check out the latest date night ideas below. You're going to love it. And we can click on personalize and drop in Infusionsoft merge fields. Because when this mails out, it's actually going to mail out through Infusionsoft. So all these merge fields merge right in, right? And then let's say we want to go ahead and have 2 above the fold features. All we do is we can go ahead and clone this out. Whoopsies. Yep. We can go ahead and clone this, and we'll move that down here. And we'll go ahead and clone this one too for continue reading. And we'll move that down here. And we'll go ahead and add some new content. So let's put a post image in here. And we'll change this to post number 4. And we just go in here. Change this to the 4th post as well, and so on, and let's preview. This now pull that content in live, and we now see we've added in 2 big feature posts just like we were designing, and everything else down below here as well. And so all you're doing is you're editing this powerful template right here in FeedBolt, and when you're all done, you can now configure when this sends. So you can say, I want this to go out to our hot prospects, right? And this is an Infusionsoft tag. And you can say, I want this to go out weekly on, it's date night, so we'll say weekly on Saturdays. We'll send this out in the afternoon, right? Between 1 and 5 p.m. This looks all good. We click on the on button, and FeedBolt now tells us that we're going to check again 4 days from now to send this post out. And you're done. You now set and forget this. FeedBolt is fully configured. All you do is plug your feed in, choose your tag, and customize and put the template in our drag and drop builder. And this will now automatically send out through Infusionsoft for you to the contacts you manage. So any questions on how we take your content and translate that into a automatic email out to your prospects, customers, etc.? Awesome. Now, I know many of us use membership sites. We love MEMBERIUM. We've worked with iMember360 a lot as well. We have tons of sites we've built and manage and work with on WordPress. Joomla, Wishlist, Customer Hub, all of these are able to produce an RSS feed. And what FeedBolt does is we take that feed and we send it to your right contacts. So for example, if you have a membership site and you have for, let's say, silver, gold, and platinum level memberships, FeedBolt is able to take that members-only content, lock behind a login, and send that out automatically to your members. So when you post up new, platinum member content, we can email your members, which helps to retain them, remind them of value, and bring them back into your members-only site. In terms of your prospects, we're able to send the email out to your prospects and show them what content's available once they go ahead and activate and become a paid member of your company or service. All right, very cool. So that was a good sneak peek for you. And then the primary thing I want to make sure that we cover today is your specific questions on FuseDesk or Infusionsoft, whether it's in Campaign Builder or it's best practices for FuseDesk. So what questions do you have that I can help answer for you? I'm going to take a look through here the comments we have, make sure I can answer those. But otherwise, please do ask your question in that comments section. Let's see. Cool. I think we addressed a lot of these questions. Good. Awesome. So let's see, any final questions before we wrap up? On the comments for you as well. And if we don't have any other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Of course, if you do have additional questions offline from here, you can always reach out to our team. Tanya just posted that up there as well, how to contact us, the support at FuseDesk.com. Good. I saw a question here regarding showing the last email information up top. So in FuseDesk, one of the things that we do, if you're looking at your cases, is we show you what the case is about. Keep in mind that FuseDesk is a case management system for you versus an email client. So instead of seeing the conversation the customer is having with you, you're seeing a summary of what the case is about, and then when you jump into that, you'll be able to see the full case history. Cool. And Erica, I appreciate that feedback about the team activity. And let us know we rock. That's great. You're most welcome. Good. Cool. Well, thanks, guys. Let's go ahead and call that a wrap for today. As you do have questions, reach out to our team, and we'll host another one of these office hours calls at some point soon. What I love about this is we can have an open format. We can cover the questions you want to know. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover more in depth in a future call, of course, let us know that as well. And we really appreciate you joining us today.